fascinating. I always find presentations regarding marketing that type of information. But at the very end, the speaker acted, and I said, "How are you doing?" He said, "I'm doing terribly. The unions are killing me." I said, "That's strange. How come you're still manufacturing the syrup in Germany?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm on the board of directors of a German company, and we don't manufacture in Germany anymore. We do our manufacturing not here in Germany." And then he looked at me and he said, "I want those employees. My salary goes up, and my pension goes up." I couldn't believe R&D. What did the accountants do with it? They write it off in the current year. What? There is no economic value after the current year? But my friend Peter Drucker, the late professor of management, one more thing. What gets measured gets managed. So I decided to put the intangibles back on the balance sheet and see what they spend in the current year. Less than 20% of that dollar is for current communication. The other, about 82%, is for building long-term brand value. And so we constructed a balance sheet for Coca-Cola. And on the balance sheet, it included long-term brand value investment. It changed everything. In other words, under my program, if you want money, you can have it. But now you have to earn a return on the investment. But if you don't put it on the balance sheet, who's going to earn it? That's the point. They're on the balance sheet, so profits are higher, but assets are higher too. We also do the same thing with research. When companies take a look at their EVA and they compare that to changes in their share value on the publicly traded. They have family businesses in Guatemala, in Mexico, in Costa Rica, in Nicaragua, and in northern Medellin. And one of the buyers potential buyers is another government entity. And they said, "Don't worry, Joel, we're going to earn a profit on that investment if we make it." I said, "No, you won't. Since you're not charging for the equity capital you will tie up, in all likelihood, the rate of return will be too low. You will think you're earning profits, and there are no profits at all, because you forgot to charge for it, and return on equity will go up." And I'm saying to you that without a charge for equity capital, people will think they're doing a lot better than they really are. And so finally, there's something. Let me just put this down here for a moment. We have a nice candy there for you. That's good.
Ok. Doctor Stewart, agradecerle por esta conferencia magistral, que en realidad espero que nos haya sembrado la semilla en todos los que lideramos instituciones de microfinanzas para ver si podemos implementar este modelo que de verdad consideramos que puede ser de mucha utilidad, sobre todo en este entorno de alta competencia en la que estamos todos trabajando. Yo quiero hacer una consulta en concreto sobre cómo es posible que nosotros podamos implementar el valor económico añadido en instituciones en las cuales el único accionista es la municipalidad provincial, donde no existe, donde las acciones no están en el mercado, no están inscritas en el mercado y no se tiene el costo de capital preciso, en vista que se trata de una entidad estatal. Gracias.
Excellent question. Although the most successful implementation in the world is with a company in Mumbai, India, the Godrej Group, Godrej. In 2001 until now, the price of their shares has increased every single year by at least 40%. Their shares today are 68 times higher than they were in 2001. I confess, I own the shares. That way I'm able to buy another pair of shoes. However, you should also know that government enterprises, who are the ultimate in nonprofits, so to speak, have implemented this as well. For example, in the United States, at that time in 1995, the new Postmaster General was appointed by Bill Clinton, reporting to Vice President Al Gore. His name was Marvin Runyon. He was one of the original whiz kids at the Ford Motor Company after World War II. They were called in, 18 of them, to help fix the Ford Motor Company, and they did. Before the post office, he ran what is called the Tennessee Valley Authority, the TVA. He came to the post office, he called me on the phone, and he said, the post office is losing $200 million every month. I said, how can you do that? You have the freedom to raise the price of a stamp. He said, we tried that, we lost that money too. It's not funny. It's not funny. So, I met with him, I met with the head of the union, and I said, I want to drill this right down to the bottom of the organization. However, we will also include KPIs, key performance indicators, on individuals. The most important will be customer satisfaction. I don't want you yelling at the customers. In any case, they implemented the program in 1996, and by 1999, there were no losses at all. In fact, Marvin applied to increase the price of the first-class stamp by 2 cents to 34 cents, and then he said it was the most embarrassing moment in his career when he announced that there would be no price increase at all because they no longer needed the money. Isn't that something? Another group that you should know about is in Singapore. It's called Temasek. Temasek is the sovereign fund of Singapore, but they also manage 48 state-owned enterprises. And Madam Ho Ching, who was at that time the CEO, because of her performance, was brought to Columbia University, where I teach in New York, and she was given a special award. And when she got up to speak, she made a line down the middle of the board, of the whiteboard, and on one side she had the list of the 50 largest companies by market capitalization on the Singapore Stock Exchange. And she said their median return on investment in the firm is 16% after tax. Now take a look at our state-owned enterprises, 48. We're at 14%. No other place in the world, she said, do government enterprises generate such high profitability. And they are all, listen to this, they are all EVA positive. That means the returns are above the required return for risk. Can it be done? Of course it can be done. But the problem is, in organizations that are not private, run by a family or on the stock exchange, you have to ask yourself whether or not the people are properly motivated to do the right thing. Because until you came along, or I came along, they simply went for size. Bigger was always better. But under my program, bigger is not always better. We definitely want to see an improvement in EVA. So I'm going to tell you this. If the chief executive becomes the champion of the program, it will be successful. If the CEO is not the champion of the program, it will fail. And here's the indicator. Let's assume you report to the CEO, and you did poorly. And you go to see the CEO and say, here are my 20 reasons why I didn't perform well. Notice, half of them have nothing to do with me. Forgive me. Give me my bonus anyway. If the CEO capitulates, gives in, grants the bonus, the ball game is over. I wrote a book in 2001 called The EVA Challenge. Although my mom used to call it, the challenge was reading the book. But anyway, chapter 5 of that book is called Where EVA Fails. And in it, I describe all of this. Forgive me, there's a second thing that causes it. If you only have 2 20 hitters, forgive me for using a baseball analogy, but I used to play serious baseball as a youngster, so I use baseball analogies. If you have 2 20 hitters, we cannot make 3 20 hitters out of them. But if you have 2 60 hitters, we can make them 3 20 hitters. Yes. Those are the limitations.
Muy bien, muchas gracias. Bien, bueno, creo que no vamos a comenzar preguntas, pero lo que vamos a hacer ahora es ir, como les decía, al receso. Aquí hay una... A ver si se lo puedo...
CJ Newhouse for Women's World Banking, and I want to thank you very much, Susan, for your remarks. Following up on Mr. Cruz's question about private enterprise, the one thing that concerns me about the EVM model is that there is so many assumptions that have to be made, particularly trying to find the proper return on equity, the expected return on an investment when you are talking about private markets, and also quantifying all the intangibles. The question is, how do you solve that challenge?
Very good. Okay. I cannot claim I didn't understand you. Thank you for doing it in English. The answer is this. The typical firm only has 5 adjustments. Intangibles is one, restructurings is another, and they'll have 3 others. It's not very difficult. You say, we're privately held, or we don't have a public market. I have interesting news for you. Remember when I looked at diagram number 1, the risk map, I said, electric utilities, food, banks, cyclical commodities. I have 7 secrets altogether. I am now about to tell you one of them. Those numbers are the same all over the world. If you are in the cement business, whether you like it or not, your score is likely to be approximately 122 on the risk map. Where the average is 100, the cement company will be at 122. Incidentally, we just implemented for Grupo Progreso in Guatemala. You know, in Guatemala there is no share market. Many companies that want to trade are listing on the Mexico market, but they're not listed. It's a family business. We simply show them where they are on the risk map based on our work across the entire world, and they accepted our expertise. So we put them where they should be, and that's where they are. They're at 122 on the risk map. That would be true if they were in Guatemala, if they were in Mexico, or if they were in New York City. What is different, remember, the risk line goes up like this. It starts at the rate of interest on government stock. So the rate of interest on government stock will be different in different countries, but we need to use that local number. That's what makes it different from one country to the next. Good question.
Muchas gracias.